everyone.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, Boris. How
Hello,
are you?
Nicolas. I'm very well, thank you. And you?
I'm fine. I'm pretty fine. So I am with Boris Oliviero, who is the product manager of the Nick Collection, and I am Nicolas Beaumont, the products evangelist of DxO. And we are really delighted to have you here today in one of our lab, meaning DxO Lab in Paris. So we are gonna make this presentation for almost one hour, meaning 40 minutes of presentation, demonstration also, but also question and answer. And so feel free to use the chat to ask your question or to give your feedback. So let's jump. So let's take a step back in time to talk about today's topic, the Nick Collection. Launched in 1995 by a German team of photo aficionados, the Nick Collection had one goal: helping photographers realize their vision with a simple set of high-performance tools. 20 years after, the Nick Collection now offers a remarkable palette of creative and technical solutions. This tools palette consists of 8 plugins: Nick Color FX for colors, tone, contrast, and much more. Nick Silver FX is a set of darkroom-inspired controls for black and white photo editing. Nick Analog FX enables you to dive into history and discover endless analog effects. And Nick Viveza to shape colors and manipulate tones. These 4 fur plugins make up the creative family, while the other 4 are more technical. Also, this categorization can be challenged by each user depending on its personal use. So Nick Define removes digital noise exactly where required without destroying the detail. Nick HDR harmonizes intense highlights and shadows. Nick Perspective fixes, of course, perspectives and distortion. And Nick Sharpener enhances images with perfect sharpness for outputs. All these plugins work in standalone mode and are also perfectly integrated into DxO Photolab, Adobe Classic, and Adobe Photoshop. There are many reasons to love the Nick Collection, at least 5 mentioned here on your screen, maybe 8 like the number of plugins, and probably many more. Creativity, speed, simplicity, or integration are all words that can be associated with this exceptional suite of plugins. From a usage point of view, the Nick Collection is the right tool at the right time. Behind the plugins interface, tools are implemented to obtain instant and accurate results. Viewpoint technology is a proven and predictable local control solution. It does not replace masking technologies, and in particular those assisted by AI, but it allows to obtain in 100% of cases the results expected by the photographer. The viewpoint technology never hallucinates and allows you to obtain the desired result in a few seconds. Clearview filter removes or attenuates atmospheric haze or fog in just a few clicks, and DxO's mastery of image sciences guarantees accurate results. Our black and white conversion technology, especially thanks to film's qualification, offers brilliant results in few seconds and limitless customization possibilities. Finally, still to the qualification of films and our mastery of the different elements of the image, our software recreates from a digital image the whole soul of analog photography with a capital P. And today, the Nick Collection takes another step forward, and we are really happy to announce the availability of version 6 of the Nick Collection. The Nick Collection 6 is enriched with 2 types of evolutions: global updates and specific improvements for this or that plugin. In terms of local adjustment and therefore viewpoint technology, the Nik Collection 6 offers an extended, a boosted version of this exclusive technology. Last year, I would have told you that the Upoint technology is based on control points. It is still true, but in addition, DxO added control lines. The addition of this form of control multiplies the creative possibilities while keeping the philosophy of selection. To allow even more precise and above all faster selections, the control points have now a diffusion slider. This feature allows you to adjust the strength of influence of the automatic selection. Still in the spirit of optimization, it's now possible to create inverted control points or control lines, meaning a control that excludes parts of the image. Here again, like an extra blade on a Swiss Army knife, this is a tool that increases the creativity of users tenfold. As a reminder, the power of the control points and now of the control lines is possible thanks to two sliders that allow you to manage the selectivity according to the chrominance and the luminance. Of course, Upoint technology allows you to organize your workflow by naming control points and control lines, or by grouping these controls. Custom presets benefit from control points and lines, since it is of course possible to save them in custom presets. Still in the global evolutions, the workflows have been optimized, so a search bar makes it easy to find the presets, both the presets already included in the Nik collection and those created by users. In addition of Adobe Lightroom Classic, Adobe Photoshop and Photoshop Element, and DxO Photolab, integration with Affinity Photo is fully automatic. To continue on the optimization of workflows, each time an image is edited, an automatic save is generated in a form of a preset, so you can easily reapply it or transform it into a custom preset to use it on multiple images. And finally, to ensure that users can benefit from a complete non-destructive workflow in Photoshop, we have added the feature to create a smart object from the Nik Collection plugins. Let's see now the evolutions related to each plugin, and let's start with Nik Color Efex, enriched with a new HSL filter. It allows you to modify the color parameters to finally adjust them or completely change the rendering. Nik Perspective is enriched with new features to give photographers full control over shapes and angles. So the reshape tool allows micro adjustment or dramatic deformations, while the symmetry tool inverts the images. The addition of guides is also a guarantee of mastered retouching. The Nik Define, Nik Sharpener, and Nik HDR Efex plugins have been completely rewritten. Concretely, this means that the interfaces and the user experience are fully aligned with the other plugins, and that these three plugins benefit from Nik Collection technology, such as Upoint technology, with its control points and control lines. But now I'm going to hand over the microphone to Boris for probably the most exciting part of this presentation, meaning the
demo, maybe.
Let's go for the demo.
Thank you very much, Nicolas. I'm very happy to demonstrate the new features of Nik Collection 6 today. Let's dive in directly. I'm going to open a first image in Photoshop. It's possible to open, of course, your images with Lightroom or other software or as standalone. Today, I'm going to use Photoshop, and would like to demonstrate the new HSL filter available in Color Efex. So to do that, I'm going to launch Color Efex. So I can launch it either from the Nik Collection 6 palette there on my screen, or go to Filter, Nik Collection, and grab the plugin from there. I'm going to click there because I'm already there. Okay, opening the plugin, you've got your presets on your left and your settings on your right. The first thing I would like to show you before we talk about the HSL is the new ability to search for a specific preset in your presets. If you're like me, you're creating a lot of custom presets. It could take a bit of time to go through everything and locate the preset you're after. So to do so, we've got now a search where you just need to put a keyword and you've got the relevant plugin, preset available directly. So I'm just going to pick one preset there, and we're going to move to the HSL filter, which is located on the right-hand side of the screen there. So I would like to modify the color of the sunglasses on this photo, which are currently blue. So I'm going to target the two blue channels to do that. And I'm going to start with this one. So I would like to move from the blue to go towards an orange reddish color. So I'm going to take the slider and push it to the right there. And I'm going to also move the uniformity to make sure I'm targeting this color in particular. And I'm going to do the same thing with the cyan. So I'm moving the cursor and I'm going to move the uniformity there. And you can see that within 2 clicks, I've been able to move, to change the color of the sunglasses from blue to red. But I can go further than that because we've got also a saturation slider, so I can turn the glasses to gray. And we've got a luminance slider, which means if I bring it down, then I've got a black pair of sunglasses. So you can see how quick you can change any details on your photo. You've got the before without the preset and without the HSL filter, and the after. And it took really seconds, as you could see. And I'm gonna apply this and come back into Photoshop. And now, on this photo, I realized that I didn't open my image as a smart object. So if you're not familiar with smart objects, it allows you to have a non-destructive workflow. So it's a good thing to open your images as smart objects. But we've got some solutions for that. So in order to show you this, I'm just going to take the current layer and put it into the bin. And I'm going to relaunch Color Effect, and this time from the palette because it's just there. Now, if I look at the bottom left of my screen, I've got a new section called Last Edits. And from there, I can access any of the last 15 edits I did with Color Effects. So if I scroll down there, I'm going to find my last preset there. And you can see that directly I've got my black sunglasses back on the screen. And more than that, I've got access to all the settings again. So if I look at my HSL filter, I can see actually what channel has been targeted before. So if I come back to my photo weeks or months after, I'm still gonna have a quick view and I'm gonna see that actually it was the blue channel that's been modified. So I can come back, put the luminance back to 0 and saturation back to 0, and I'm back on orange sunglasses. And then some of you might think, well, again, the image wasn't open as a smart object. And for that, we've got another feature, which is this little box at the bottom right of your screen, allowing you to convert your photo as a smart object directly within the plugin. So even if you do forget to do it in Photoshop, you get a second chance to do it inside the Nik collection. So I'm just going to apply this, and I didn't convert it to smart object. Brilliant. That's nice.
So you are going to try again, maybe?
Yeah, well, you know.
So in the bin, back to...
Practice makes perfect. That's what we say. There you go. There. Orange.
Your final edits.
Smart object. Apply. You can see how fast that was. And now I do have a smart object which allows me to edit it, you know, if I want to now, or I can reopen it in weeks or months or years, and I'll still be able to change any setting I want to change. So we were looking at a small detail on the photo just to quickly show you that it works on other photos where we need to change the color. So I'm going to go back and pick another photo. I'm going to take this one. I'm going to open it in Color Effects again, and what I would like to do on this one is change the color of the couch from blue to, let's say, a purple and maybe more saturated purple. So let's launch ColorFX again. And all I'm going to do is, again, target the blue channel, and I'm going to move the cursor and I'm going to move the saturation, and in 2 clicks I've got a completely different image, and the blue's been completely packed and the rest is great. I really like this, it's good.
And you forget to edit it in Smart Object again.
No, not yet. Yeah, well, yeah, to start with, but you know, I can do it now.
I understand this feature.
That's good. Okay, so that was for the HSL filter, and we're going to move to the local adjustment, and for that I'm going to open another image. So let's go back to the folder. And I'm going to open this image of a friend that was during a wedding, the preparation for the wedding, and I like this image, but I feel the bottom of the dress could be brighter and maybe have some more structure in it. So I would like to demonstrate how we could work on this now. So actually, let's go back to ColorFX. We know this plugin now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a filter on the left-hand side of the application, and I'm going to go through the filters. There's one which is called Detail Extractor, and that's exactly what I would like to do on this image. And obviously, when I'm going to apply the filter is going to be applied on the whole of the image, and I'm going to demonstrate that now. But what I would like to do is actually have this filter applied only on the bottom part of the dress. So to do that, I'm going to use local adjustment, and I'm going to place a control point now on the bottom of the dress, and I'm going to activate the mask view so you can see what's happening there. So if you're not familiar with control points, it's like a real-time masking based on the color luminance and chrominance. And you've got the center of the point there, which is in orange, and that's going to target a specific color. And as I move my control point, you can see that's going to target something completely different. But as I said, I want to work on the dress on this photo. So I'm going to increase the radius on this, so it takes the bottom of the dress there. Here we are. But now I've got a bit of an issue because I would like to have the full dress targeted the same way, and by default a control point doesn't have the same strength in the center and on the edge. The strength will be at 100% in the center and will be diffused towards the edges. But we've introduced a new tool which allows us to actually act on the diffusion of the control point. So as you can see now, I can really target the whole of the bottom of the dress there. There's still a couple of issues there because I'm targeting the white, but I'm targeting also other colors, as you can see there and there. So I can play with the luminance and chrominance to make sure I'm more targeted towards the color I'm after. So if I move the luminance to the right-hand side, I'm targeting more the pixel with the same luminance. Obviously, if I go the other way around, I'll target more and more pixels, which are, less with the same luminance. And I'm going to do the same with the chrominance, where I can target to have a chrominance which is closer to my control point. And I'm quite happy with this selection there. And I'm going to disable the mask so you can see what's happening. I'm going to push the contrast on this, and I'm going to push the extractor a little bit, just to show you that I've started with this image, and after the control point and the filters, I've got this, and that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to have more brightness and more structure in this point, and that's exactly what I've done, and I'm quite happy with that. And you can carry on working with this image, and actually to show you, I can work on this clog there. So I'm not going to drop directly a control point, because if I start putting several control points, my settings will be the same for all the control points. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a new instance of the filter first. So whatever I'm going to do only is going to apply to this new control point. So quickly, new control point. I'm going to put it on the clock, activate the mask. I might zoom
a bit.
Yeah, zoom a bit to show you what's happening there. I'm going to reduce the radius of this, make sure my control point is on the black. And you can see there, I'm not targeting only the face of the clock, I'm targeting a lot more than this, but with the diffusion tool, I can actually target a lot more the face, and I could work with luminance if chrominance if I needed to, but for this, I don't need this. And I'm going to disable the mask, and I can play with my extractor and contrast to change the way this clock is going to look. And I can carry on and on to add control points on this. I can put some on the plates and other parts of the photo. And quickly, I will end up with quite a collection of control points. And that's okay for now because I know what I'm doing. But again, if I open this image in a few weeks, in a few months, it might be complicated to know exactly what does what, especially if I'm looking at the right-hand side. And if I want to do it with the photo itself, I'll have to click on each control point to know exactly where the settings are. So for this reason, we've introduced a new feature, which is the renaming of the control point. So instead of having a control point which is called control point 2, I can just double click and call it clock, for example. And I can do the same for the dress. So any local adjustment you're going to get on your photo, you will be able to rename to find them really quickly. And the last thing I would like to show you on this, once you've put all your control points, and let's say you work on a batch of photos and it's the same position of the camera, you're on a tripod, it's only the model is going to change position a little bit, but your control points are going to be at the same place all the time. Today, you've got the possibility to save your presets with or without control points. So I can call it this, for example, wedding, and that's going to be control point A, preset A, sorry. And if I want to have the local adjustment with them, I might put LA also. Let's put one LA. That's going to be very clear this way.
Okay, you prefer one AA instead of ALA.
Yes, for me it's
okay.
it's yeah, well,
up to you.
Everybody, you can name them exactly the way you want them. But there, I've got the choice to save them with or without local adjustment. So actually, I could have the choice to make one version with the local adjustment and another version with just filters. And yes, no local adjustment there, and I can save that. So that was very quick, and I can find them in my left side panel. I'm going to close this image. I'm not going to save it because I would like to discuss now the control lines. So I'm going to open another image, and this one was taken in sunny Brittany.
In what?
Sunny Brittany. Oh. Yes.
Strange Brittany, you mean?
It's at the west of the France. It's not always sunny.
No, it's not always sunny, right?
What we would like to do on this image is to push the saturation and maybe the structure, maybe of the clouds. I'm not too sure actually, but at least we're going to do something on the saturation. I'm not going to do complex things, so what I'm going to do is open it in Vivezza. So exactly the same way as Color Efex, I've got my plugin on the left-hand side. I'm going to click there, and I've got my image. Up until today, if I wanted to work on the clouds, probably what I would have done is to use control points, and I would have placed them on the clouds like this to target the white every time. And I'm going to activate the mask so you can see what's happening, and you can see that everything in white will be targeted, so that's what I want to do, but I still need to play a bit with them to make sure I've got exactly the selection I want, and I'll have to select them all to change maybe some of the chrominance to make sure I'm targeting only the clouds. Now, there's a quicker way to do that. So I'm going to remove these control points. And instead, what I'm going to do is use a control line. So the control line is located just next to the control point icon. So it's just there on the right-hand side of the control point. So I'm just going to click there and I'm going to draw a line. And actually, I'm going to activate the mask so you can see again what's happening. So when I create a line, actually you're going to create two different lines. And the logic behind it is that anything above the top line will have a strength at 100%. So that's what's happening there. Anything under the bottom line will have a strength of 0%. And then you can control the diffusion by moving the space between the two lines. The other tool you've got is like with the control points where you could select your color, you've got a little eye picker there to do the same job. And you can see that depending on where I place it, I don't select the same thing. So I go from the sky to the clouds.
And so what is selected is white, right?
What is selected is white indeed. And then from there, I can do some fine tuning to have exactly what I want. And I can disable the mask. And if I push the saturation and the structure, that's my before image. That's my after image. So with just one control line, I can actually have a huge impact on my photo very quickly. And then I realized maybe I didn't want to actually work on the clouds, but actually the opposite. I wanted to do everything but the clouds. I wanted to have more structure and more saturation on the rest of the image. Now, there's a couple of ways I could do this, but the quicker way will be by using the new feature, which is the invert masking or invert selection. So to show you what that does, I'm gonna reactivate the mask view there. And as Nicolas was pointing out, everything which is selected is in white and the rest is in black. So when I use the invert mask, which is located just there, just under your local adjustment, I'm going to click on it and you're going to see exactly what's happening. So now I've selected everything but the cloud. So I'm going to go back to my initial state, disable the mask, and I'm going to show you the results. So knowing that because I was working on clouds and the white, I've pushed the saturation and structure quite a bit. So inverting that might have an interesting effect.
Interesting, yeah, probably it's gonna be interesting.
Interesting.
Like,
so
like sun in Brittany. That's interesting.
That's it.
That's interesting.
So let's do it. And as you can see,
that's interesting.
slightly oversaturated, but not to worry. We can change that very quickly. And now I can have a look at the structure as well. So you can see that very quickly, the way you can work on your image, you can define a way where you want to have the structure, saturation, and you could move away from that. And of course, that could be your starting point. You could add extra control points, extra control lines to do other things on your image. It's a very quick introduction of the control lines using filters. Okay, I'm not going to convert it to smart object.
But it's possible.
But it's possible. I'm not even going to save this for now. And that's the demonstration of all the local adjustments. And we're gonna move to another photo to be more on specific plugins. So I'm gonna open this image, which is an image of the band Half Moon Run that I've seen a couple of years ago in Paris. And I like this image, but if I zoom on it, I can see there's a lot of noise actually on it. And I quite like to reduce the noise because I might want to print this image. So to do that, I'm going to use Nik Define, which does actually exactly that, removing the noise. So I'm going to click there. And again, you'll see that the interface is like the previous plugin we've looked at, Color Effect, Vivezza. You've got your presets on the left and your settings on the right. Now, what Define does is measuring the noise, and you can see it there. So it can be done automatically, or it could be done manually. So for this exercise, we're going to leave it on automatic, and then it's going to reduce the noise accordingly. Now, if I zoom on this, it did remove some noise, definitely, but it's not strong enough for me. I would like to have even more noise removed. So what I can do is use one of my presets I've created early on for other images. So on the left hand side, I've got all of my presets, and I've got one which is called strong denoise, clear edges. And I think that's more or less what I want to do on this image. So I'm going to click on this, and you can see I'm going to do a split screen. And even through YouTube, you should be able to see the difference between the left-hand side and the right-hand side. But it doesn't stop here, because as for the other plugin, it's possible to use local adjustment to do that. So let's say I only want to denoise some part of this image. I could use control points and control lines, and control line being the big hero of the day. I'm going to use a control line to do that, and I'm going to say that I want more denoising on the top of the image than on the bottom part of the image. So exactly the same way we've done it with this landscape in Brittany, I can have the full strength at the top, have a diffusion between the two lines, and then nothing at the bottom because it's all black anyway, so I might not want to apply it there, for example.
And so it's working also with control points.
So it's working also, yes, and it could be a combination of control points and control line together. And again, you could save them as presets in your denoising profiles. Moving on. And we've got one last image, which I might open actually directly from the launcher for a change. And we're going to open Perspective.
Yeah, that's an important point, meaning that you don't need an host, meaning you don't need Photoshop, you don't need Lightroom to use all the plugins.
No. I've started to use it with Photoshop because I wanted to demonstrate the smart object, but it's possible to open them with Lightroom, with Affinity. You could open them as a standalone application if you want to. So this is a photo of the Great Lakes in Italy, and there's a couple of things I would like to do on this image. The first thing is I would like to flip it, so the blue and white pool you've got there on the left-hand side will be on the right-hand side. I think it will look much better. And actually, I don't like the fact that this pool is not very straight. So Perspective FX corrects the perspective of an image by default, as the name indicates.
Good name.
And we can do that there automatically, and you can see it's just one click. It's very fast. But as I said, what I would like to do for now is to flip the image, and we've got just the tools for that. So I would like to flip it with the vertical axis, which I'm going to do now. So with just one click. Of course, you can do it in other direction, which doesn't make much sense on this image. What you've got also are guides and grid. So the grid, just to check quickly if the horizon is well flat and everything is well aligned. And if you need more than this, you can have the guides, which are horizontal and vertical. So you can pick a specific color. I've got some water there, so I'm not sure I'm going to see the guides really well. So I'm going to change the color to orange, because we're talking about Nick today.
This is your color.
This is my color, yes. And I'm going to place some line there very quickly. I didn't really need the guides to see that the pole wasn't straight, but here you are. So you can put as many guides as you want. So I'm going to remove this actually, because I would like to show you in detail how to have an effect on this pole. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use the reshape tool, which is located just in the middle there of the right hand side panel. And if I click on the first box there, you can see that's going to create a grid. So it's quite a simple grid with 16 points. And I think that'll be good enough for me just to move this pole into the right position. But if you need to work more precisely, you can actually click on some other options there, and you can go up to 32 by 32. So if you need to work on the roof, then you just want to move some little details, that might be the option you want to go for. As I said, for now, I just need a simple grid, a simple mesh. And from there, I can choose to either move the points one by one, but that's a bit complicated. And actually, if I don't like the position, I can double click on the point and it will come back to the initial state. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take more than that. I'm going to take 4 in one go and move them like this. And as you can see, it's very quick to have an impact on your image. I'm not going to go too much into detail. I just want to show you, how quick it is to fix an image if you want to change the position of anything. And once I'm happy, I'm going to click on apply there, and I'm going to show you the before and after. That was before and after. And that's a quick overview of the main features in NIC 6. And I'm going to give the mic back to Nicolas.
Thank you. I'm happy you are happy. What I discover is that if I want to change sofa or glasses, for example, glasses colors, don't need to go to the shop. Just have to use the HSL filter of ColorFX.
Indeed,
right?
yes.
Perfect. I'm gonna do that. It's gonna be cheaper for sure. So let's stay serious and therefore summarize the additions of the version 6 of the NIC collection. So UPoint technology is boosted, especially with the control lines. Workflows has been improved. Presets are now more easily accessible. Smart subjects can be created in NIC collection plugins. NIC perspective is enriched with tools to achieve geometric perfection of images. And finally, NIC define, NIC sharpener and NIC HDR effects has been completely rewritten. Talking about prices, so here you do have prices for new license in US dollar, euros, and British pound, and same for upgrades. Of course, the 30 days trial of the NIC Collection 6 is free of charge. This is because it's a free trial, and you can download the NIC Collection right now because you do have the link into the description just below there. And now we are here to answer your
questions.
I really like when you end up my phrases. So you probably asked many questions while we were talking and demonstrating. So maybe because we do have some guys behind the camera, can you send us some questions? Talking about this, your feeling about this NIC Collection 6, what is your favorite feature? Is it more HSL, meaning this local adjustment, or is it more global, like control lines, which is really, really powerful? What I saw with Brittany, that's wonderful.
Yeah, it's a completely complicated question because the HSL is really, really useful. But yes, I think you've seen that I do like the control lines. It's it makes the job very quickly, and it works everywhere, which is great. It's not just within one plugin; it's all across the collection. So I do like it a lot.
So a question about control lines and Baoun having, in fact, 2 control lines, but multiple control lines. So is it possible, if I shorted a little bit the question of Michael, is it possible to have multiple control lines for having different effects on the cloud? It's on the cloud and
it's exactly what I showed you actually on the dress and the clock. You can multiply the control lines and control points. So depending on what you want to do, you could even reapply depending on which plugin you are. You could reapply some filters, and yes, you could have more than one control lines, and you could have control points at the same time. So yes, the quick answer is yes.
Yeah, and maybe to go a little bit further is, and that's what you explain with the dress and the clock. It's possible to, because you add, just for the demo, just one control point on the dress and one on the clock, but you can consider also having multiple control points in the same effect. So for the dress,
Yes.
having, for example, 1, 2, 3, depending on how you want or how complicated is the subject. And you can add also different not plugins, but different effects with their own control points.
Yes, yes. The important thing to understand is if you take one filter and put many control points for that filter, the effect will be the same on all the local adjustment control lines or control points. If you want to have different strength of filter, you might need to reapply the filter exactly as I did early on. So instead of putting more control points and control line, you put a new instance of your filter.
Yeah, new instance, right.
And then you put your extra control points or control line, and then that will work fine for you.
And that's why it's working in 100% cases.
Yes.
Even if it's really, really complicated subjects, it's gonna work.
It's gonna work regardless. Yes.
We do have a question from Jonathan about is sharpener including? Yeah, of course it is including sharpener is included in the Nik collection.
Yeah, but yes.
Yes, it is for sure. The Nik collection is those 8 plugins. You didn't mention about that. We can say 9, which is or 8.5, because Sharpener is coming in 2 versions. The first one is pre, and the other one is output, in fact. So you can sharpen your picture before, or you can sharpen your picture for outputs. That's what we saw in your Nik palette.
Yes, but sharpener will come a bit later on.
Yeah, but sharpener will come from free.
Yes, of course.
Why don't you start from Photolab? Oh, because, Pierre, thank you for this question. It's, we can use the software we want, meaning the software where the Nik collection is fully integrated. So we can have this demo made with Photoshop, with Lightroom, with Photoshop Element, with DxO Photolab, with Affinity. We decided to use Photoshop today.
Yeah, and mainly because there was the demonstration of the smart object, as I said earlier on. That's why we chose for this demonstration to use Photoshop. But yes, you could use many other software.
I see that the clear view and grain filters from DxO are still active by default. Is it possible to turn off in Nik Collection 6?
There's no change on this level compared to the previous version, to answer your question. Not sure when you said active by default. The strengths, you could untick them and it won't be active on your photo.
You can also save a preset without activating that, or you can lower it to 0%, for example.
Yeah.
I saw a cool feedback about diffusion, and you are totally right. Diffusion tool is very cool, but control lines are very cool too.
Yes. It's difficult to pick, actually, yes.
Do you have any question? Preset, it's a game-changing feature for sure. Yeah, that's true. And again, we are in the spirit of what the German guys made and think about, meaning having this high performance palette of tools for photographers and to edit photography and not to make some, let's say, graphical design or stuff like that. The Nik collection is really related to photography for photography lovers.
And I think, yes, the use of presets will increase your workflow. It's incredible, the way how fast you're going to work. If you create your preset and you create all your custom presets, your workflow will be much, much faster.
And now and there is this possibility of having preset with or without local adjustment.
Yes,
So really
which
easy
makes
to
them even
use.
stronger. Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
If there are not other questions, because we are not. No. Some people behind the camera say, how many control lines can I use on a picture, and how can I do this? So
okay, I might. Well, you know what?
You are gonna demonstrate quickly, maybe.
Maybe
No?
just to show that you can put. I can't give you a number of control lines. Basically, it's going to be down to what you need to do. That's the way I'm gonna say that. I don't know if I can share my screen very quickly. So I'm gonna reopen this image in Vivezza just to show you. So control lines, again, as I said, I'm going to do this very quickly there. I'm going to add the saturation and the structure, and then I can put, you know, an extra control line there. And, you know, again, in Vivezza, because we don't have a filter the same way, you can apply it with the same strengths. But if you use them in ColorFX, then you can put your filter, put a control line, take another filter, put another control line. There's no limitation per se on how many control lines you're going to put there. It's down to you. Obviously, at some point, it might get complicated because, you know, especially with control line, I think control points, you're going to place more because you can really target small items. With control lines, quite often you target larger areas. So personally, I never went, you know, with a lot of control lines because on this type of photos, you might put, you know, a couple on the skies to look at the sky, look at the clouds, and then you're gonna put some at the bottom part of your image, some for the water, and maybe one for the rocks. But you're gonna end up with like maybe 4 control lines, but not a huge quantity.
In fact, another limitation is also the power of the computer, the CPU power. I mean, if you are, but like for many software, you can do multiple stuff. You can add and add and add, but at the final stage, your computer will be.
We won't be happy to recalculate everything.
So this is. There are 2 limitations. The first one is how you consider as a user, as a photographer, how you consider your images and how easy to use. And the other is a technical one, a technical limitation. And you are still showing your screen. Maybe we can come back.
Switch back.
Because we are still there here. So in Paris, into that wonderful. No, I really like that place. In fact,
it is nice.
Yeah. And the other one, you know, is more, let's say, serious, more formal. The other lab, it's more about charts and so on. There, it's more or less like a flat.
Do we have other questions?
To viewpoint 3. In fact, okay, viewpoint is. I don't know if everyone knows about that. So viewpoint is a software. DxO Viewpoint is a software itself, where Perspective FX is part of the Nik collection, and so meaning that it's fully integrated, fully included, in fact, into the Nik collection. Are control lines also available in ColorFX and SilverFX?
Yes, that's.
You are so quick. Where can I see your presentation again? It's gonna be available, in fact, as soon as we are gonna stop this presentation. You know, it's about YouTube memory, so you will have the presentation for almost all the time.
Eternity.
Yeah. We can discuss about eternity. It's gonna be quite long. Nothing new for. Yeah, of course. Of course, there are some stuff new. Meaning,
but by default, yes. You know, all the local adjustments are in SilverFX. So by default, yes, you've got a lot of new tools in SilverFX.
Control lines,
control point, the diffusion, the renaming. Yes. So,
inversion. Yeah. So there are many new stuff.
The non-destructive
workflow also. Saving local adjustments into the presets.
and having your
Yeah.
access to your last 15 presets, which is
Exactly.
very useful.
Charlene, we do too.
Can you take file? And
I'm not
slide
sure to understand. Can you take part of one picture?
and slide onto. No, you can't take a part of an image and put it in another image. Not at the minute.
Do we have? Oh, this one is really small. So we are gonna make that because the screen is in front of us. The clear view and grain filter can be deactivated in color effects by deselecting them, but they still remain on the screen. Would it be possible to remove them completely from the sidebar?
Oh, you would like to? Oh, right. No. So at the minute, no, it's not possible to remove them from the sidebar. No, not in this version.
So it's not just about removing the effect.
No,
it's
more,
changing the user
interface.
interface.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
What's new in analog effects? So the answer is more or less the same, meaning that all those global evolutions,
Yes.
control points, control lines, inverting, diffusion, renaming,
preset search,
non-destructive,
last 15 edits, all that is available in analog also.
Thank you so much, Miguel.
All right. I think
we are more or less at the end. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much indeed.
Yeah.
Yes.
Really nice. We do have joy, right?
Yes.
That's really fun. So probably you will have many other questions. So first, you can download. I will say you had to download because it's free. So you had to download the Nik Collection 6 so you can try it by your own. Of course, you can ask the customer support if you need any information. You can check our website because there are many learning resources and enjoy.
Yeah, enjoy. That's the main thing. Yes.
One last question. Why purchasing your software include all features? Yes.
All the features before.
Yeah.
Yes.
We never removed features, in fact. Yeah, of course.
Thank you, Michael.
See you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.